What if your money could grow while you sleep without you lifting a finger? Most people think wealth takes daily discipline or constant tracking, but the real secret is automation. By setting up transfers that move money into savings or investments before you even see it, you're actively practicing the behavioral secret of out of sight, out of mind, quietly building wealth in the background. In this video, I'll show you the exact automatic systems that let you pay your future self first, turning willpower into routine, and how transforming just $25 a week can grow beyond $20,000 without requiring constant attention. If steady growth sounds simple in theory but hard in practice, that's because most people never see their money stick around long enough to grow. Ever notice how your paychecks seem to vanish almost overnight? The balance looks good for a day or two, then somehow it's gone. It's not that people don't want to save or invest, they start with good intentions, but maintaining those habits quickly become exhausting. Managing money demands constant attention, and every decision to spend or save drains mental energy over time. This is where most financial plans break down. Behavioral finance calls it decision fatigue, the gradual depletion of willpower caused by too many small choices. Throughout the day, you decide what to eat, what to wear, how to navigate work, when to rest. By the time you sit down to make financial decisions, your mental reserves are already thin. Each choice to save instead of spend feels heavier than it should. And once fatigue sets in, short-term comfort wins. That's why, even when people know better, they so often swipe the card. In reality, willpower is a limited resource. It's consumed by the thousands of small decisions you make long before you even think about money. Add unexpected expenses, social pressure, or just the fatigue of a long week, and saving starts to feel like an optional task instead of a natural one. The problem isn't that people aren't disciplined enough. It's that the system we rely on constantly asks for discipline we can't always supply. Now, consider how your environment plays into this. The simple act of seeing money in your checking account makes it feel available, and therefore spendable. A high balance signals safety and opportunity, even if that money has future obligations. This proximity creates what behavioral experts describe as emotional friction, the internal tug of war between what you want now and what you know you should do later. The more visible your cash, the stronger that friction becomes, and the easier it is to rationalize spending just a little. Take a typical young professional earning $60,000 a year. On paper, their income should cover expenses with room to spare. But each month follows the same cycle. Payday hits, bills clear, and what's left feels like usable spending money. A dinner here, a subscription there, maybe an impulse purchase that feels justified after a long week. Before the next paycheck arrives, the account hovers near zero again. The issue isn't income, it's visibility. Money sitting in a checking account carries its own temptations simply because it's there to see. Traditional budgeting systems try to fight this power with tracking and categorization, but that approach depends on constant vigilance. You're expected to log every expense, review every report, and make conscious adjustments week after week. That level of self-monitoring is almost impossible to sustain. Over time, the mental load wins out, and good financial intentions fade. A process that relies entirely on continuous willpower eventually collapses under its own weight. A smarter approach sidesteps the problem altogether. The principle of out of sight, out of mind works because it removes choice from the equation. When money meant for savings or investment is moved automatically before it lingers in your line of sight, it no longer creates friction or temptation. You stop viewing it as spendable because it's already serving its purpose elsewhere. That separation between what you see and what you save is what protects your progress from day-to-day impulses. The key insight here is that willpower is finite, and any system depending on it is bound to fail. Automation eliminates the need for manual decisions by ensuring the right action happens automatically. It doesn't rely on motivation or memory, it simply runs. When the savings process moves beyond your field of choice, results stop depending on whether you feel like being disciplined that week. Small transfers become steady growth, not because you tried harder, but because the system removed the struggle altogether. And that's where the real shift begins, the point where savings stops being an effort and starts becoming automatic. Next, we'll look at how that quiet system works in the background and why those who lean on it consistently end up wealthier with less stress. Behind every person who seems effortlessly good with money lies a quiet system working in their favor. It's not about endless discipline or budgeting spreadsheets, it's about automation. This hidden system builds wealth in the background by moving money before you can act on impulse. Once set up, it runs entirely on routine. Transfers happen on schedule, investments grow automatically, and progress becomes the default, not the exception. Most people already use automation, but for the wrong reasons. They set it up to pay bills, cover credit cards, or settle rent, essentially using it to protect what they owe instead of build what they own. The shift happens when you flip that script. By scheduling automatic transfers right after payday, sending money to savings or investments before a single bill gets paid, you effectively pay your future self first. That simple change transforms wealth building into something inevitable. Your financial goals are elevated to the same non-negotiable status as your utilities or loan payments. Consider someone who's paid every 2 weeks. Instead of waiting until month end to see what's left, they automate a transfer the day after each paycheck hits. That money moves into a high-yield savings account or directly into an investment platform without requiring any thought. The next time they check their balance, the saving is already handled. There's no temptation, no hesitation. The decision was made once, and the system takes care of the rest. Take the example of a teacher who decided to automate $50 every Friday into her brokerage account. Years later, she jokes that she can't even remember her login because she never needed to check it. That's the power of out of sight, out of mind. Her wealth has begun accumulating automatically. No budgeting nights, no second guessing, just quiet consistency. Over the years, those small weekly transfers built a foundation that manual savers rarely sustain, proving that steady beats sporadic every time. This kind of automation doesn't just apply to savings, it's just as effective for investing. Many platforms now allow you to automatically buy low-cost index funds with each deposit. Each contribution purchases a small fraction of the entire stock market, eliminating the stress of picking winners or timing the market. It's diversification without effort. For instance, if you've been automatically investing $25 a week into a broad S&P 500 index since 2013, you'd have accumulated over $20,000 by now. That growth didn't depend on constant attention. It came from a system that kept running whether you checked in or not. The strength of automation lies in how it removes willpower and replaces it with structure. Where manual savings requires dozens of small, repetitive choices, automation only asks for one: the initial setup. After that, wealth compounds silently. Time and consistency do all the work. You no longer wonder whether you can afford to save or if you remember to move that money. It happens automatically, and the results build invisibly in the background. This separation between what you use and what you grow creates powerful protection against impulse spending. When your savings and investments are handled first, your checking account balances reflects only what's truly available for daily life. You're not fighting temptation because there's nothing to resist. The choice has already been made. Over time, this behavior reshapes how you view money itself. Raises, bonuses, or small windfalls naturally flow into the system, increasing your savings rate without increasing your effort. And that effortless consistency sets the stage for something even more important. Once your money is quietly compounding in the background, the next challenge isn't how to save, it's how to keep from undermining your progress when income rises. Because without guardrails, more money rarely means more wealth. That brings us to one of the quietest but most important defenses of lasting wealth: the lifestyle freeze. It's the safeguard that keeps progress intact when your income starts to rise. Every raise or bonus brings new possibilities, but also new temptation. Without a deliberate plan, that extra income vanishes into small, justified upgrades that slowly erode your financial momentum. Why does every raise seem to disappear so quickly? You start with good intentions, thinking this increase will finally make savings easier. But your spending subtly expands to fill the new space. A slightly nicer apartment feels justified. A car upgrade feels overdue. Dinners out feel earned. Each choice seems small, yet together they cancel out the raise entirely. That invisible drift is lifestyle creep, and it stalls even the most promising financial growth. Lifestyle creep doesn't happen because people are careless. It happens because people psychologically normalize improvement. When income climbs, comfort adjusts right along with it. A higher grocery bill, a new streaming plan, or upgraded furniture each feels like a minor reward, but viewed together, they consume what might have become long term wealth. Once those changes are in place, stepping back feels like moving backwards. Behavioral finance experts recommend freezing your lifestyle for a year after every raise, keeping spending fixed and committing to the full additional income towards investing or debt reduction for 12 months. This lifestyle freeze turns delayed gratification into an engine for acceleration. By redirecting every extra dollar towards your financial base, you give new income a purpose before habit takes over. It's not about saying no, it's about saying later, so compounding can work for you first. A powerful illustration comes from a graphic designer who landed a promotion that increased her salary by several $1,000s a year. Instead of moving into her own apartment immediately, she chose to keep living with her roommates for 2 more years. That decision freed up about $500 each month, which she systematically reinvested into a real estate investment trust, or REIT. Over time, her consistent contributions began generating dividends that grew to nearly cover the rent on the upgraded apartment she eventually moved into. By resisting lifestyle creep early, she effectively built an income stream that paid for the upgrade later. That's the deeper payoff of a lifestyle freeze. It lets you convert short-term restraint into long-term freedom. Each month of sustained discipline adds both capital and time, amplifying compounding growth. 1 year of frozen spending can permanently shift your financial trajectory by transforming temporary salary boosts into lasting assets. Those assets then begin to generate returns of their own, reinforcing the habit and speeding progress without additional effort. Experts sometimes call this approach anchoring your lifestyle. By keeping your baseline steady, you create breathing room between income and expenses. Every raise becomes pure gain, not an invitation for new obligations. You stop reacting to pay bumps by upgrading and start using them to build optionality. The goal isn't stagnation, it's stability, the kind that builds leverage over time. When you live slightly below your means, every increase accelerates independence rather than expanding want. While others use their raises to cover new expenses, you use yours to escape them. By keeping your lifestyle stable and avoiding flashy upgrades, you stay under the radar, focusing on building security and future options. This quiet consistency sits at the heart of stealth wealth, the practice of growing prosperity without broadcasting it. Freezing your lifestyle for just a year creates a permanent shift in how your finances behave. You're not denying yourself comfort. You're choosing to let your assets mature before your spending does. Over time, this calm, steady approach protects both your balance sheet and your peace of mind, setting the stage for an even deeper advantage, the kind that grows strongest when nobody's looking. Once your lifestyle and systems are stable, another layer emerges, the one that keeps everything protected and undisturbed. Privacy is the final layer of invisible wealth. It's what allows your progress to unfold quietly, without interference, distraction, or expectation. The wealthiest people often look ordinary not because they lack success, but because they understand that discretion is the strongest form of protection. In a culture that rewards visibility, they've learned that the less others know about what they own, the easier it is to preserve it and to live freely. Privacy isn't just a personal preference, it's a strategy. When your financial details remain private, you draw a clear boundary between your assets and the noise of public attention. Modern life makes that boundary hard to maintain. Social media celebrates exposure, upgraded homes, new cars, posts about promotions. But every public reveal creates new pressures, comparisons, judgments, and unsolicited expectations. True wealth is about being able to make choices for yourself, not for an audience. When you stop sharing every milestone, you reclaim that independence. Financial privacy isn't about secrecy, it's about freedom. This principle also applies to how assets are structured. Many investors fortify their privacy by holding their investments through legal entities such as limited liability companies, or LLCs. This simple measure separates personal identity from public records. For example, a friend of mine manages 3 rental properties under a company called Oak Street Holdings LLC. To anyone checking the country records, the owner appears as a company, not her. That anonymity isn't just about modesty. It protects her from being seen as a source of loans or financial help by well-meaning relatives. It also keeps tenants and contractors from connecting her to those assets directly. What appears on paper as a simple ownership entry becomes a shield between her private life and her portfolio. Having that structure offers more than just legal separation. It reduces the emotional strain that can come with visibility. When fewer people know what you have, fewer people have opinions about what you should do with it. That means fewer awkward conversations, fewer unspoken obligations, and a stronger sense of calm control. Wealth feels safer when it isn't constantly exposed to others' perceptions. It lets you focus on performance and long term goals rather than managing people's expectations. The emotional benefit of privacy extends to giving, too. Anonymous generosity is one of the most authentic expressions of wealth. It allows your values to speak louder than your ego. Giving quietly, like paying for the car behind you at a drive-thru or slipping a grocery gift card to a family in need, lets you use your resources for good without drawing attention. Each act reinforces the idea that money is a tool, not a trophy. The absence of recognition removes pressure, keeping the focus on the impact rather than on appearances. Stealth wealth has never meant hiding out of fear. It's about building autonomy and peace of mind. Privacy sustains those outcomes by keeping your financial life aligned with your personal priorities instead of public validation. The richest form of wealth is the kind that no one feels compelled to prove. By maintaining discretion, you give yourself the mental space to make patient, rational decisions, not reactionary ones. You protect your time, your focus, and your sense of balance. When privacy, restraint, and automation all work in harmony, wealth becomes less about activity and more about stability. Your systems handle the mechanics. Your habits guard the boundaries, and your silence gives everything room to grow. Protecting your progress privately protects your mental space too, allowing you to prioritize freedom and security over fleeting approval. And once those layers are in place, you reach a point where your money doesn't need your constant supervision. It starts to move, grow, and compound quietly in the background, setting up the next step in the journey where real wealth flourishes when no one, not even you, is watching. Building wealth doesn't begin with perfection. It begins with action. The simplest and most powerful step you can take right now is to automate a small transfer towards your future. The amount doesn't need to be large, it just needs to start. Even $25 a week, consistently invested, can grow into more than $20,000 over time. The key is to make the system do the heavy lifting so your money compounds automatically. If you want to take action right now, log into your payroll portal and schedule your first automatic transfer. Start today by automating savings or opening a broad index fund. Pay your future self first and let steady consistency build your quiet wealth week after week.